Do you remember Project Multi, the Dragon Ball MOBA that was in beta about a year ago? Well, the game finally has a real name. It's called Dragon Ball Genshin Squadra, and it's in beta once again, this time open to anybody. I knew this game would come back eventually, but what I was not ready for was just how wild they are making this roster right now. I'm sure you've seen gameplay from Goku, Vegeta, and Gohan, but today I want to explore some of the character picks you just don't see in every Dragon Ball game. The characters they usually only release after they've added everyone that you come to expect. And given this new genre for Dragon Ball, it's interesting to see just how well they have made them in this MOBA environment. And we're gonna start with Dabura. As I started playing him, I was expecting a bit more of a technical character. Turns out he was very easy to just pick up and play. Whenever Dabura is close to someone, there's this bar that will fill up underneath their character, and when it's full, you just hawk to it. Targets become petrified and they take more damage. Now this can be hard to notice in the middle of all the particle effects, but trust me, the opponents did not miss it. Becoming petrified sucks. That said, because the bar just fills up on its own and you spit by pressing the auto attack button, that becomes something you don't really have to manage too closely. Of course, if you want to be optimal, maybe you save some of your cooldowns for when they're petrified. That increases your damage output. But if you just want to play and spend your cooldowns normally, you end up getting good damage and a decent number of petrifications too. I really like landing that breath skill. It's so satisfying and it always looks so sick in every Dragon Ball game. Dabura was a solid way for me to kick off this beta. I even helped my team out by soloing a Nappa at level 7. Okay, I almost did that. So next, I decided to try out Frieza First Form. Frieza is not a rare character in Dragon Ball games, but First Form usually comes after Final Form is already playable. In fact, in the entire history of Dragon Ball games, I can only think of one that had the First Form playable but not the Final Form, and that was Taiketsu. Even then, you could briefly transform during your level 3 super. I kinda wish you couldn't, so I didn't have to see that. I fully expect Final Form Frieza to be playable in this game at some point, maybe even transforming into Golden Frieza at level 7, but for now in this beta, we only have First Form. And coming from Dabura, who was very easy to use, Frieza was a bit tougher. This guy is so squishy, you're really meant to keep a safe distance at all times. And luckily, his abilities do support that kind of playstyle. You can summon both Dodoria and Zarbon, and they act as turrets pretty much. You place them wherever you want, and they just kind of do their own thing. Zarbon is a more traditional turret, he just stands there shooting opponents. And Dodoria is the one everyone hates to play against, because he straight up pushes you around if you come in range. Now both of them have a health bar that can be attacked if you're playing against the Frieza. And defeating those characters will make their abilities cool down longer, which is why it's important for Frieza to not just leave them laying around. Besides, if you don't place them on the map, they actually walk around with you and help you with your basic attacks. Frieza felt super complex, but in a very unique way. Perhaps the most unique I have played in this game so far. But if instead of going for unique, you want to go for fun, the most fun I've had would probably be Caulifla. Caulifla is a tank, and tanks tend to be very strong, not only in this game, but MOBAs in general. And in this beta, I feel like she's an absolute MVP machine. You gotta open with her first skill, which is the kicks. This supplies a debuff that reduces the damage enemies deal to you. And it also buffs the damage you deal with certain moves. You put that debuff on everyone, you can 1v3 easily. Then her second skill is a fireball that has you jump towards it after it hits, so she can chase down opponents too. And her third skill is an explosive wave that knocks enemies back, improving your survivability even more. And this mix between melee and ranged abilities, chasing down opponents and knocking them away, I feel like it's just such a well-balanced moveset. Bro, I didn't even transform in this game. We won that so quick. Oh yeah, she can also go Super Saiyan at level 7. Personally, I like to save the transformation for a big team fight because it heals you, so then I can stay in that fight for longer. And as long as you know what the debuff does and you start with the kicks, honestly you're good. She's very easy to use. The one thing I don't like so much is her ultimate, but I guess you can't have everything. And maybe that's just me, but I feel like Super Oob could have a little bit more. Out of all the characters I've tried in this beta, this is the only one I had a really hard time figuring out, and I probably haven't figured him out quite yet, to be honest. His gimmick is the cyclone bar that you can see below his health. It increases when you use some of your skills, and it buffs your ultimate plus your basic attacks. Thing is, using your basic attacks depletes that bar, so I could actually never get it to go very high. I mean, what am I supposed to do? Stop mashing the auto attack button? In an anime game? Give me a break. Ubi's very squishy, and it didn't feel like he was the glass cannon type the whole time I played him, so if I die quick and I cannot get kills, I don't know what I'm really supposed to do. Maybe the answer is actually just building up that cyclone bar and stop mashing until it's full. Nah, that can't be right. This is a Dragon Ball game. Bojack making it into Squadra before Cell is crazy, right? He's got a fun little gimmick with his Bojack squad as well. Whenever he hits an opponent with a skill, you can see this meter popping up below them. So the next time you hit them with a basic attack, you summon one of your minions and they do an assist. All the minions do something different. It's kinda sick if you can predict who comes out next. He can place these mines on the field and wait for someone to walk over them, or he can detonate them himself with another skill, and I like the feeling of control that gives me. And then you got cycle threads where everything inside this circle is slowed down like crazy. His moveset is so sick, and he can also transform at level 7. But as you know, I like to save my transformation for those tough team fights since it heals and I can extend the fight for longer. Or I can forget I had it all together and just die. And the last character we're taking a look today is another one of those that you don't see often in Dragon Ball games. Baby Young. I mean Super Baby or Baby Vegeta, yeah, you see them all the time. But Young Baby? That is a choice for sure. And he might just be my favorite character of the whole beta. His main gimmick is possession. Whenever you're damaged and you want to heal, you just possess one of your allies and slowly heal yourself over time. You're also helping your allies because they get lifesteal, so as they deal damage, they also heal themselves. This may look like a 2v1, but it's actually a 2v2, and your opponents have underestimated that. It does require some coordination with your teammates. You need to have someone in range to save yourself, and it's also good to give them a heads up so they know they can be a bit more aggressive. But it's awesome. He's also got an ability that slows everyone around him, allowing people to catch up and get kills. So in the end, he's a tank that feels a bit like a support character, but with a moveset this unique, I had a ton of fun playing him. He's got one more gimmick, which is pretty insane, but if you land a finisher on an enemy, you actually possess their body. You control their character until they're either killed or they respawn. But since Baby kind of feels like a support character, I find myself not getting that finisher very often. And when I do finish someone off, it's usually with a skill move, and you do need to land the actual cinematic finisher for this to work. That's the one part of the moveset that feels like it wasn't meant for this type of character, but I don't know, it makes it feel kind of special when it does happen. But a roster this unique this early tells me that this game is gonna be huge. I mean, there's no way they're skipping on characters like Final Form Frieza, Cell, Android 17. I was gonna say Android 16, but they might actually skip that one since he's actually a boss. But we'll see more versions of Goku and Vegeta. Super or Kid Buu have to make it eventually. Gohan will have other versions as well that are not the kid. There are no fusions in the game so far, they're definitely adding those. We got Zamasu but no Goku Black. I mean, just with basic characters alone, this roster is gonna be gigantic. And I think that's what the devs are telling us with these more unique picks, and I absolutely love it. It's a different type of Dragon Ball game in its genre already, but it feels even more unique when you go wild with character picks like these. And I know they're not always the most popular, this is very much a risky move from the devs, but it's a move that I personally really appreciate, especially when it allows them to go crazy with the original movesets like Baby and Bojack. This beta for Squadra is going to be pretty short, so if you haven't played it yet and you want to try it out, make sure to hurry up and do it. It's on every console and mobile with crossplay enabled, and I haven't had any issues with the netcode yet. It feels like a really solid game, honestly, and thanks to these choices, I'm now super excited to see who else they announce. Let me know who you would like to see. What are some of the crazy picks you would love for them to do for Dragon Ball Squadra? Let me know in the comments down below. But that's going to do it for today. For more Dragon Ball, check out this video right here. Thanks for watching. Bye.